You know, in a world that's just obsessed with high-intensity everything, what if I told you the ultimate luxury in self-care wasn't some punishing gym session, but something you already do every single day? Welcome to The Explainer, where today we're going to reframe the simple act of walking into the most profound wellness tool you've got.
Let's be real for a second. The pressure to go hard at the gym can be a lot, right? We're sold this idea that for fitness to count, it has to be intense, it has to be expensive, and honestly, that can create a ton of anxiety and even a feeling of failure before you even start. But what if the most powerful wellness practice was the exact opposite? What if it was just effortless, sustainable, totally free, and accessible to absolutely everyone? That's the big question we're digging into. How can we take this simple daily action, something you do without even thinking about it, and turn it into your most powerful and, more importantly, consistent wellness habit? So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to uncover the hidden science and wisdom behind a simple stroll. Then we'll dive into 4 golden opportunities to weave it into your day. And finally, we'll get into the art of making it a habit that actually sticks for life.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the why. You might be thinking, walking, it's too gentle to make a real difference. Well, you might be surprised by the profound strength that's hiding in this super simple activity.
Now, this is where it gets really cool. The source material uses this amazing metaphor. It compares walking to a sweeping monk from old martial arts stories. You know, the unassuming guy who just looks humble, but secretly has this immense hidden inner power. It's gentle on the outside, but totally transformative on the inside. And that power, it really rests on 3 key pillars. First, it completely gets around the anxiety and high barrier to entry of a typical gym. Second, it literally acts as a kind of automatic massager for your internal systems. And third, it's a natural cleanser for your brain, boosting your clarity and your mood. And this quote just brilliantly nails that first pillar. The beauty of walking is that there's no pressure. There's no such thing as a bad walk. If you get tired, you walk slower. This whole low-stakes approach is absolutely fundamental to building a habit that lasts. And that's the bottom line here. It's an activity you literally cannot fail at. This just removes the single biggest thing that stops us from being consistent, that fear of not being good enough. Your only training ground is the path from your couch to your front door. It's that simple. So, let's talk about that second pillar, the physical stuff. From a wellness perspective, walking is like a full-body tune-up. As you walk, you're actually stimulating acupressure points on your feet that connect to your whole digestive system. That rhythmic motion helps soothe the liver and release stress. And a gentle stroll after a meal? It's one of the best things you can possibly do for your digestion.
But it's not just your body. It's an incredibly powerful tool for your brain, too. Walking boosts blood flow to the brain, which sharpens your focus and memory. It triggers the release of endorphins. Those are the feel-good chemicals that fight off anxiety. There's a reason so many great thinkers had their best ideas while walking. It literally clears out the mental cobwebs. And maybe the most incredible part, regular walking is one of the most effective ways to slow brain aging and help prevent dementia.
Okay, so we know the why. Let's get practical and move to the playbook. We're not talking about carving out some huge new hour in your schedule. No, we're talking about finding 4 golden opportunities that are probably already there.
The secret weapon here is something called anchoring. Basically, you just tie your new walking habit to something you already do. So for example, a quick morning walk right after you wake up helps you patrol your territory and get your head clear for the day. That awful post-lunch slump? A 10-minute walk is the perfect cure, and it helps digestion. A stroll after dinner boosts your metabolism. And those little breaks from your desk, they are absolutely crucial for saving your spine. It's just about finding the moments that already exist. All right, now for what I think is the most important part. We know why we should walk, and we know when we can walk. But how do we make this thing stick? Not just for a 21-day challenge, but for life. So the source breaks down that classic 21-day habit cycle into 3 distinct phases, and each one has its own little challenge. That first week, it's all about just overcoming inertia, getting off the couch. The second week is about pushing through that point where you might get bored or feel some burnout. And that third week, that's where you lock it in by making it genuinely joyful. So, to conquer each of these phases, the source offers 3 super simple but really powerful magic tricks to make sure you build a habit that actually lasts. Okay, trick number 1. To get over that initial inertia, create a simple ritual. It could be a specific pair of walking shoes. This becomes your battle armor. The simple act of putting them on sends a clear signal to your brain that says, okay, it's time, we're doing this. It's like flipping a switch that starts the engine. Now this next trick is so important for beating that midpoint burnout. You have to reject perfectionism. So many habits fail because we get stuck in this all-or-nothing mindset, right? Oh, I don't have 30 minutes, so I'll just skip it. Instead, you have to embrace what the source calls walking fragments. Any walk is always, always better than no walk. And this shows you exactly how powerful that idea is. A 5-minute walk in the morning, 10 minutes after lunch, another 5 in the evening, and boom, you've suddenly gotten 20 minutes of movement in. That's not a failure, that's a huge success. And it reinforces your commitment without demanding that you be perfect.
And finally, to make the habit truly joyful and permanent, you pair it with something you love. This is sometimes called habit stacking. You could listen to your favorite podcast, you could put on a great playlist that energizes you, or, and this one's my favorite, you could just put the phone away and tune into the world around you, turning your walk into a kind of moving meditation.
Because ultimately, the goal of this entire journey is to make this tiny psychological shift. You start off feeling like you have to walk, but by using these little tricks, you eventually get to a point where you genuinely want to walk. It goes from being a chore on your to-do list to a craving, a moment of peace you actually look forward to.
In the end, the real magic of walking isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. It's this gentle, sustainable power. It uses the most natural method we have to regulate our bodies, clear our minds, and build a foundation of health that will last a lifetime.
So, there you have it. You don't need a fancy gym membership. You don't need expensive gear. The ultimate luxury in self-care is available to you right now, for free. The only question left is, where will your first step take you?